She comes back with a Gucci bag. And I was like, this is my red flags. My red flags start fucking going off. I'm like, where did you just go? You had 10 minutes to wait.
Dear Shandy. Welcome back to Dear Shandy, listeners. Do you know what day it is, Andy?
I do this time.
Yeah, good job.
I do.
It is Love Fest Day, and we have a very exciting couple. I think they're one of the cooler couples in Bachelor Nation, especially considering both of them are from Bachelor Nation. Usually a couple's only cool if one of them is from Bachelor.
That's a good point.
It is a good, thank you.
Yeah.
But they're one of the very rare couples out there that both come from Bachelor Nation and are incredibly normal, cool, real life people.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yes.
Both. You guys are really beating the odds.
Nice. So,
Astrid.
Killing it in life. Killing it in life.
High fives in order. I like that.
Astrid and Kevin are tuning in from Toronto to talk with us. Thank you for joining us, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Oh my God, such a pretty couple. My God. Kevin, I'm enjoying your Raptors hoodie, by the way.
I just got kind of chirped for this a little bit. I put this on last minute. It's cold in this house.
No, I'm enjoying it.
I didn't know we were going to be on camera, to be honest. I thought we were doing the phone
This
call
is so
thing.
Canadian already, like making apologies for what he's wearing. Amazing.
Yes.
All right, you guys. Today is about you and your relationship, and
Okay.
it's about
It's like, okay.
Love.
Okay.
love, but truly it's about being honest and specific, and you guys
Okay.
can gush and do all the things, because the reason we started this series of episodes was because, especially in Bachelor Land, there just isn't a ton of specificity. It's a lot of
Amazing.
he's so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Not that there's anything wrong
a
with
lot of amazing journeys.
Yeah, a lot of amazing journeys.
Yeah.
So today, when we ask you a question, do not be afraid to go off on tangents and give us all the nitty gritty details, because we love details.
Will do.
Awesome. Okay.
And I apologize for the cameos by Ace. He's going to keep jumping
Yeah,
on
he's
us
gonna keep
probably for the
jumping
whole
at us.
hour. But that's,
Andy's getting such a kick out of your
That's
apologies.
amazing. He's apologizing for his amazingly cute dog. You should be apologizing for not
Yeah.
having more. Like, I want to see I want to see him.
yeah, he
Get him
might
up,
have to
get
make
him
a
up, get
cameo
him up
pretty
there.
big, probably.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
want
gotta
to
make
knock
an
this
appearance.
down.
Yeah, I think he should be front and center.
Up here with
He's
us.
way more
No.
interesting than any of us.
So we've had him for about 6 weeks. We rescued him from Bunny's Buddies, the company out of California.
Okay.
From Korea, right?
Yeah, from
South Korea.
the kill shelters over there.
Oh
yeah.
my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, so they sent us a video of him all matted down on the street. And as soon as we saw the
Wow.
video, I texted to her. I said, take my
gotta go.
money, whatever you need, get him here.
Yeah.
Because when COVID hit over there, they were getting told in the news that dogs were spreading it to people's children. So everyone freaked out and people
Oh
just
my
dumped their
God.
dogs onto the streets, which terrible. I don't think I would ever do, but I can also understand if you think your kid's going to get sick, you kind of
Sure.
would freak out. So
So they assumed he had a home before us because he was pretty well mannered and like he knew how to sit and stuff, but they probably just thought he was carrying the disease or could, and they just throw him out the front door.
Oh,
And that was early on. That was like January, February. So yeah,
Wow.
now he's
now
Canadian.
you're in Canada.
That is one lucky dog.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We may have stalked the IG where we saw, Kevin, you teaching
Oh
Ace
my
how to go up the
God.
stairs.
Oh. That was like the third day we had him, maybe.
He's a
Yeah,
pro now.
yeah.
We
So
have
cute.
4 stories now, so 3 sets of stairs, and he kills it. He
Yeah.
loves it.
I'm a proud dog dad here.
You guys are too cute. Okay. So we're going to go back in time to your first impressions. And I want to know what your first impressions were of each other, whether or not those first impressions involved television, because truly you are the first couple we've had here where both of you are from the franchise. Usually like the partner isn't. So
Well, usually they break up from the franchise too.
Yeah.
I told
So
you
it makes that hard.
like her. And so first impressions, and then whether or not those have changed and in what way.
Okay. You go ahead.
Okay. I was gonna say you go first. So I didn't watch any of his previous seasons. So when I met him, I truly just met him like you would meet anyone completely normally. And my first impression was just that he was really hot. That was just
Sweet.
So I do still think that. He's just like completely my vibe, my look, all of that. So we didn't talk really when we first met. So I was just really into the way he looked initially. So that was kind of the beginning of all of that.
Wait, so you didn't see, like, did you know of him? Or was he just a...
We can both say, honestly, we didn't know. So I did not. I mean, I knew the obvious people, like who just got off the recent seasons and are going to be on the beach kind of thing, but I didn't dig deep into knowing who would go. And I didn't really have many friends in the franchise, only a few from the Winter Games that I did. So I didn't even know she existed. She didn't know I existed when we showed up.
Which was nice, because then we actually just got to know each other for each other without having all those preconceived notions.
Yeah, you met totally
like
normally on television.
Yeah,
like that handshake of, oh, nice to meet you. Usually it's fake, right? They know each other.
Right.
Everyone's creeped each other on Instagram or whatever. We had no idea. Like I asked her name 3 times before I got it right.
And nice. I was kind of friends with Bibby beforehand, just through like social media friendships that you kind of make within this weird world. And I saw that they were speaking to each other. And so I had asked her, who is this guy? And she goes, oh, he was on Winter Games with me, whatever. I'm like,
but more
cute.
Importantly, he was also the winner of Bachelorette Canada, by the way. I just have to, just to be very Canadian
Gangster.
over here.
That's true. I feel
apparently he's been the winner of all 3 shows. Always.
I definitely won Paradise. By the way, we're the only couple left from that season. So.
Oh, I know.
So we officially won that season. Which
you
is
really did.
Yeah, for someone who made so many waves on reality TV, you've really extricated yourself beautifully. I'm very impressed.
I appreciate that. I think it's funny.
You got the best of both worlds.
True.
I think it's funny because I saw myself evolve like on TV in HD. Like it was something where when I went on TV, I had no idea, like production got the best of me. I had no idea what was happening. And when I look back at the guy I was leaving for that first show, I am completely different. And I never would be with someone as good as her. And I would never treat a woman as well as I do if I didn't go through all those growing pains. And it took all 3 of the shows to get there. And it's one thing I like fully identified with myself was I was like a frat boy, kind of an asshole when I went on the first show. And by the time I kind of saw myself in that light through other people's eyes, I like looked myself in the mirror really strongly after that first show, second show. And by the time I was on Paradise, I was completely confident with myself on camera because I knew who I was and I knew that I had fixed a lot of the problems that I had in the first show, that when I met her, we were just completely on the same level.
Wow.
If only more men were had such humility. And
the moral of the story is every man to find himself should go on 3 reality TV shows. Just 3. That's it.
That's all you need.
That's it.
And for the record, I watched that first season in depth, and I never once thought you were an asshole frat guy. But that is interesting. I mean, in
Canada,
he was very controversial because the runner-up was beloved. You kind of got fucked, honestly, because
who was the
typical edit, though, right? Like the typical end of the road edit is the second guy. Is
the runner-up was just like the golden boy, and then she didn't pick him, and so and he was like a normal guy, and they had this great. Anyway, it was a little painful to watch in that sense, but that was great TV. I loved that season, obviously. But Kevin,
yes,
your first impression of Astrid.
Well, we didn't speak the whole first day. So when you get there, the first day of the beach, it's so chaotic and everyone knows each other. And like I knew a few people, she knew a few people. But there's nowhere, and the cameras are on just the popular kids. Like they always want to get the first day of all the popular kids who just came off the recent seasons. And so they left me alone. Like I think I had a couple little interviews here and there, but they didn't really do much with me. And I remember Astrid saying the same thing. Like once we started talking, she said the same thing. Oh, they didn't really talk to me much at all yesterday. So we just kind of looked at each other from afar. I remember thinking like, because Bibby said the same thing to me. She said, you should make sure you make an effort to talk to Astrid. I think you guys will get along really well. But the first day just kind of went by so crazy and quick. Ended up hanging out with guys and she hanged out with girls a little more on the first day. And it was the second day that it was right after breakfast, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That,
cool.
It was one of those, like everyone finally is just relaxed and hanging out. And I just kind of said, do you want to go for a walk? and go talk for a bit. And then the cameras obviously follow us down. And we sat on a daybed for the next 4.5 hours and didn't move. And it was just like, well, another tequila, please. And it was just sit there and talk for I think it was close to 5 hours before he said, hey, you guys have to go mingle like you just got here. And by that point, we knew everything about families. Like that 5 hours was crazy because, like, as you know, there's no other distractions. Like when you get into a good conversation, there's nothing else there. So and
you're so like, you could never do that on a regular season.
Right.
Yeah, that's what makes Paradise kind of different because you actually get to do that.
And I remember the one camera guy even kind of sticking his head to the side because we were talking about like nachos or something just ridiculous by hour 4. And he was just kind of like, do I still have to fucking sit here?
This is really boring.
It's so boring. So we always say our Paradise experience consists of watching the full show in HD from our daybed because we just saw people running, crying, all this shit going back and forth on us. And we just kind of chilled for 30 days.
Just munching on popcorn over there.
Did you feel in that first 5-hour conversation at all like I may spend the rest of my life with this woman, or vice versa, either of you?
I don't know about rest of our life together right away. I don't know if we're those types of people who are like, this is fake, this is just love at first glance. I think we realized, okay, there's another normal person on the beach. I can actually hang out with this person for the next 30 days. I was like, cool.
Low bar, got it.
I think,
Very honest.
I think for me, it was kind of going back to my previous point. I kind of learned from my mistakes. So when on day one, I was like, okay, I wouldn't mind going on a date with her, but I'm not thinking anything past what you should be thinking on day one. And I think I learned that from doing.
Right. You're a gun shy. Got it. Makes sense.
Little did you know.
Yeah. Little did I know.
Now you got a dog.
That's right.
This is interesting because so that means that your first impressions, you didn't really have any preconceived notions about each other. And then it sounds like you were both completely normal from day one. Were there any, you had the luxury of 5-hour uninterrupted conversation. Has anything changed in how you view each other? Or is it just like a more beefed up version of what you thought that first day?
I kind of feel like we just kind of got going and then we just kept building on what we had. It wasn't ever like, oh, you're not that person I thought you were anymore. I feel like the one thing that I learned from the first time doing the show and then doing Paradise is you just have to actually be yourself. If you get in your head and you start overthinking everything, then you're no longer yourself. And then how do you get to know someone? So I feel like because you've been on shows before too, you were very similar to where I don't think we're the people who would ever go back on reality TV. Now we're like way past that. Like me now, it's like no way.
Never say never.
I would never do this. But I feel like we just kind of kept building on that relationship because we were just kind of being ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, we relate to that big time.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like a more colorful version of what you first saw and thought and maybe hoped might be there, but not really many curveballs in a good way.
Right. In a good way. I do remember the conversation going very like unapologetically ourselves.
Yeah,
like, I do remember you
like
talking
natural.
to your family and being like, my family's a little crazy. Like it wasn't like this, everything's perfect, I'm the best catch ever, like you see on so many shows where they start to break it down episode to episode until you realize not everyone's perfect. Me and her were very quick to say like I told her all about the shows I went on and we talked about our past relationships. We talked about, because you got nothing else to do. We sat there for the whole day and literally dissected our adult lives in 5 hours. So
It isn't, you guys make it sound like it's easy, but that's actually shockingly hard for a lot of people. To just sort of have the self-awareness to just present yourself as not the perfect option necessarily. Do you know what I mean? Like it takes confidence to show your flaws early on anyway.
Definitely, especially on TV.
Especially on TV.
definitely.
I wasn't going to do this question next, but Astrid, since you sort of touched on it, I asked this because it's such a popular question. I polled people. I was like, we're interviewing our next Love Fest couple. And the overwhelming question that I got from people was, how did they know? Like, when did they know? When was that aha moment? How do they know the other was the one? Andy and I don't believe in the one, by the way. But you guys can totally debate me on that. I'm just wondering, what are your thoughts on that? And if there was a moment where you, quote unquote, knew.
So I definitely agree with you that I'm not sure that there's like the one. I think there's certain people you meet in certain parts of your life that kind of get you to where you need to be. So I think we both met each other at the perfect timing. So I don't know if it just, whatever he went through, whatever I went through separately got us to the point where we were both in that mindset to be ready to now be together forever and have met the one. But we had to get through different things to get to that point. Because my mom is now married for the third time. And I think Mark is the love of her life. But I also think her first two husbands were the ones in that time frame to get her to the part she's at in her life.
I completely agree.
You know what I think, and I always say this to you, you know.
Oh, do I know?
One,
what are you going to say?
I'm going to say something really embarrassing now. The one, there are many ones, I think. But if you find a one, the most powerful element of finding the one is someone who never annoys you. And I want to know,
is that possible to never be annoyed?
okay, you can be like a little annoyed here and there for, you know, something stupid. But I want to know, is there something about you, Astrid, that annoys you about Kevin? And Kevin, is there something about Astrid that annoys you consistently? Is there one thing that annoys you where you're like, oh, I hate when she does that, or oh, I hate when he does that?
So every time I try to clean anything in this house, it doesn't matter what it is, it's got to be redone. So I will clean up
I knew it was
going to be housework.
I will clean up all of dinner, like while she's on the couch, like hanging out. I'll clean up all the dishes. Then I'll go take the dog outside. I'll come back. The whole dishwasher's unloaded, and she's reloading it in the proper way that the manufacturer.
I was raised by a very strict German woman. It's not my fault.
There must be order.
Or like I'm in my mid-30s. I was in the military. I literally done my laundry since I was 19, and I can't do laundry in this house because I don't wash, dry, fold, or put away properly. So if I even try to do the nice thing and say, I'm going to do the laundry today, she will freak out.
There could be worse things, right?
No, I'm good with it. I'm okay with it.
Well, one of the reasons why I asked this is actually a Trojan horse question. I've had a feeling that the things that annoy you about each other are things that don't matter at all. And you just confirm that.
Yeah,
it seems like you have a good relationship.
Yes.
And when I say annoying, I'm talking about the things that where you're like you're sitting there, you're like, I hate the way she chews food. God damn it, I fucking hate that. That's bad. No. Okay. Right. But you doing the laundry wrong, totally cool. Yeah. You guys are good.
There's nothing that I can think of where you come in the room and I'm like, fuck, shut up. I can't think of that. I can't think of that example anywhere in my day. So.
I think part of like having that good relationship too is if he does something that's annoying, you could be like, that's kind of annoying. Can you stop doing that? And the other person not getting offended by it versus it just festering within you.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden chewing becomes annoying versus I chew my gum annoying sometimes. I do. And he'll be like, why are you chewing your gum like that?
Yes,
I'm like,
there you go.
I didn't even notice it. And then I stopped chewing.
You're really getting into that gum, are you? You'll say it in that like sarcastic way to make sure she knows.
Versus if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't have a good relationship, if you don't feel comfortable complaining about that thing, then you're just watching them chew. And next thing you know, you hate it every time they chew because you never told them that it's annoying. So they can't change it.
That's that's conflict resolution. Mm-hmm. That's another element of a good relationship.
And not getting defensive when someone talks about your chewing.
Totally. Yeah. Respecting the relationship enough to be like, listen, this chewing situation is going to end this relationship, so it's got to stop now. So I care enough about our relationship that I want to tell you that you need to stop chewing annoyingly.
Yeah.
So what's the thing that annoys you, Astrid?
So we're very opposite in the sense that if we get ready to go on a trip, he's packing 5 days before and making piles everywhere throughout the house of like what he needs to save to, pack later on. Or if we have to be somewhere early, he prepares the coffee the night before. So when he wakes up in the morning, he can just push the button to where I'm just ready to go to bed. I wait for everything last minute, but because of that, I can be late sometimes. So in the moment, sometimes I'm like, why can't he just chill out and sit and just be calm with me. But then the next day when I'm rushing, trying to get ready and the coffee's already made and looking for my passport and he has it in his backpack, it works out great.
Yeah. It does annoy her though. It does annoy her where like,
I'm like, just sit down. It'll be fine. We'll have time tomorrow. And then we never have time the next day. And then it's a good thing he did it.
I feel like that's the least annoying thing I've ever heard in my life.
But when you just want to sit down and watch a movie.
Yeah.
And then he pauses the TV to go do something that he could just do when the episode's over because there's 10 minutes left. Yeah. Like he stops what we're doing to do whatever he just remembered so that it's prepared for the next day rather than just finishing the show because there's literally 5 minutes left. It's like, I just want to see what happens.
Like my calendar in my phone has 50 things per day and half of them aren't needed to be done for 2 more weeks, but I need to push them every day.
Oh my God.
So that I can remind myself to do, because then if I get around to it, it's like, oh yeah, I got to do this email for my attorney or for whatever that today I should do it now. And I end up pushing like 40 things a day, but it makes me feel better knowing that I have a checklist ahead of me. But I do keep it to myself. I do keep it to myself a lot. It's not like I bring it on to her, but when it comes to like all of the kitchen and packing and all that stuff, I'm definitely guilty of like, I'm pretty anal about making sure we're ready to go. But we've also never missed a flight or lost your passport.
There you go.
I've only missed flights when I've traveled alone.
She's missed 2 flights without me.
So Astrid, would you say that of the 100 or so top annoying things a boyfriend can do, would you agree that that's pretty low on the list?
Oh yeah, it could be way worse. It's really not that bad. The piles sometimes, it's like, why now I'm just moving your piles around, but it is what it is.
But I don't even know Kevin, and I feel like he's endearing just for that.
Andy is also a pile maker, by the way.
Yeah, I make piles.
Oh yeah.
We're talking piles of shirts, piles of toiletries.
Yeah.
Piles of
clean shirts, kind of dirty shirts, really dirty shirts. I might wear that shirt again later on.
Oh my God. No, we're not kidding. We call it the halfway house.
Yeah, I make it happen.
Yeah, that's the spare bedroom right there. The halfway house.
Andy has shirts that sort of hang over the hamper. They're flirting with going in the hamper, but he thinks he might wear them again. And sometimes he does. Sometimes he doesn't.
It's actually the progression is it's a new shirt that's like super new. I literally wear a white t-shirt every day. And I have like the new ones, which I just bought. Then the ones that are like, like still wearable, but old. And then the ones that I'm probably going to throw out. And then the ones that become rags. So it goes from it goes from perfectly new to rag.
Suddenly it goes from being a shirt he would wear to being a rag, and the rags are just in a pile that is not temporary, by the way. The pile just lives.
It's a permanent
how many rags do you need?
We had a railing in our own place, and
rags
the railing,
are very useful.
Yeah.
We had a railing, and eventually the railing would fill up completely on all the things he was waiting to wear for like a specific workout or whatever. And
how do you feel about right angles? Are you like, I'm trying to figure out if you're like as anal as me. Are you like, do you like things to be on a right angle?
Who would say no to that?
A lot of them.
I would say yes. Like it'll hurt me if it's not. Yeah.
I know who you are.
Yeah. I keep it to myself, but thank you for bringing it out.
We're good. Okay. Go ahead. Ask your question.
This is a good segue into another popular discussion, which is conflict, fighting. What's your fighting style? How do you fight?
I will say probably our best improvement in our relationship has been fighting. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, when we started,
we got into some big fights.
Well, the size where it could be the same, but the way we both treated the fight was completely wrong. And I feel like you have to learn how to fight with the person you're with, because if you fight with the last person you're with, it might, like she did. I almost ended it. I was so mad because like she's a walkouter. And if you walk out of my house and I have no idea where you go, I am livid because I don't know where you are. And I'm such a safety, like it bugs me as a fireman. I don't know what it is. Something about a woman being angry walking downtown Toronto bugs me. And when she brought that to a relationship, she found out really fast.
I walked out once. That was the one.
And I said, I don't care if you scream at me, but the only two things for me was walking out and swearing. I said, those two things shouldn't be associated with directing swearing, like fuck you or go fuck you. Any of those things where it's directed at me.
Not that I was telling him.
No, but those
Let me just clarify.
And the best improvement I saw was, even if we got into a way bigger fight, she would stay in the house, even if it was a different room, or she would yell at me, but not in the fuck you kind of way. And it just was much quicker resolved and just much more productive, because that's something that just triggers me past everything. Right. Mm-hmm.
That's so funny about the walking out, because this might surprise you, but I used to do that. Not regularly, but I have, Astrid, done that.
Where you're just like, I'm over this conversation. I just need to walk. I just need to have a walk.
You want to just get away. And you're just like, for me in the past, and that's one of how I knew this relationship was different, was there was this sense of, well, fuck it then, of just your anger makes you go from like A to Z, like I'm done, like I'm done place.
It's
instead.
it's like a play breakup.
It's like your mind just goes to this place where like, it's just, I'm done. Yeah. You're just like, and I feel like part of that is maturing but also getting to a point with the relationship you're in where that's never a real option.
Mm-hmm. Right. I feel like I agree. I feel like that's where we grew the most. Like, she was an American German, like staying in Canada. Like, where are you going? So like, you're not going anywhere when you storm out. Like, doesn't have the car keys with her. Like, there's nowhere
you will find escape impossible.
I almost say I'd rather you just go bury yourself in the blankets upstairs and just like pout or yell at me from there. Because then at least I know where you. It's just a safety thing for me. I just don't like the thought of her leaving and I don't know where she is. But 100%, once you get to a point where you're not going anywhere permanently. So what's the point of leaving? Like, you might as well just
have to talk it out. You're not going
You're being
anywhere.
way too rational, Kevin.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So
you're right.
rational.
You're right.
He's a 5.
Well, Kevin, you just talked about how Astrid fights. Astrid, what do you have to say about how Kevin fights?
I think we both do this, but we're very quick with our words to where we're really good with the passive aggressive digs in the middle of an argument. Yeah. Where like, he really knows what to say where it hurts my feelings, and he's not even trying to be mean, but he knows how to shut me up in the argument, because I'm just like, that was so rude. I don't even want to have a comeback, because then it's just going to escalate. So that's when I go to I'm just going upstairs, like whatever. But we're both just too good with our words when we argue.
I can totally see that with you guys. Yeah. Like, I can see it being cutting and specific.
Yeah, very specific.
Very specific.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily so, perhaps.
Yeah, we're working on it.
I mean, that's totally it. Like you said, Kevin, you made such a good point where, you have. I can think of all these different types of fights that I've had with exes. One in particular was just like, we fought like every day. I remember like just holding a plate and so badly wanting to throw it at him. Like, I was, he just drove me crazy. And you just learn from all that. And then, as a knee-jerk reaction, you might bring that into your next relationship, like Astrid running out that one time. But then, like I said, you sort of come to this realization that, no, there is a greater good here, no matter what, no matter how passive aggressive it gets and no matter how far down the street you run.
Yeah.
And it takes a couple good fights to truly understand that, because then you are able to tell your partner, this is what's not acceptable. And then that other person has to then decide, okay, is this relationship important enough for me to not behave like that anymore? And it kind of makes you look at yourself like, why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I'm bringing old stuff into the relationship? Is this really what my personality is just like? Do I need to change this? Do I like this about myself? And you kind of adjust based on if you want to stay in the relationship, to where we, in the beginning, had a few fights, and then we said, we're never going to go to bed angry. Like, we're never going to be that couple where it's like, well, I'm sleeping on the couch or whatever. Like, we're always going to talk it out before we get to bed. And
we've done that for over 2 years. We'll never always make sure something's sorted out.
Wait, you've actually stuck with that? Because I feel like we've thought of doing that and we haven't stuck with it.
Yeah, but we wake up okay.
Yeah, I actually think going to bed angry sort of solves our fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
It's like we both won.
We both just sort of cool off.
It's not that we're just, going to bed, like tickling each other again, super stoked. It's just that we're silently watching TV together, but we're agreeing on a show, and we just both fall asleep and we wake up the next day and it's just a new day.
Yeah, new day.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, that's what we say.
People want to know about the one, knowing,
fighting is the biggest
and fighting.
Topic. But it's also like, if you're in a relationship you really care about, that's where you learn how to fight. You don't learn how to fight in bad relationships. You want to fight. You want to bring the drama. You want to ruin it.
Well, you let it escalate in bad relationships. In a good relationship, the whole time you're thinking, okay, maybe it's not worth it for me to say whatever just came to my head, because it's just going to hurt the person's feelings, and it's not worth it, because then now I'm living in a house where I'm walking on eggshells because I took it to the next level. So maybe just shut up every now and then.
Yeah,
totally.
Okay, so next question. I want to know if you guys had an idea of specific traits you were looking for in a partner, and if so, how your partner is different than maybe you were expecting you might find or you would be compatible with.
Okay. Well,
I know
that's a hard question.
Yeah.
You go first.
I mean, you also do pass, and I can just go to the next question.
No, I mean, I think my idea, like when you talk, I don't believe in the one either, by the way, to go back to that question. I feel like meeting someone who you're supposed to be with is just a bunch of cool coincidences that all lined up together and made you in the same place at the same time. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but Astrid went to Paradise the year before, and then she got shoot before the shutdown happened, and then she got sent home. And then they asked her to go back, and she said no, and then she came back the next year. So I'm just picturing, like, if that didn't happen, so thank you, Corinne, and what's the guy's name?
Yeah, Demario.
So thank you for doing that, because without all that stuff, Ashley would have been on the beach. She probably would have met a guy. She's a hot commodity, and I probably never would have met her. And that's the way I look at things. I don't think of it as the one or fate. I just think of it as cool coincidences that made two paths kind of line up.
Yes. I mean, that was how we met too. It was just sort of, it had
total billion to one odds.
Yeah. It was meant to be two ships in the night, really. And then these ships just happened to, it is very cool.
Very cool.
Okay. So were there specific traits, or were you just sort of looking for, a connection? And there's no wrong answer, but
I think the connection was the initial. I wanted that first spark, and I think we accomplished that pretty quick because we had no time for anyone else on the whole month we were in Paradise. And I think when we got home, my biggest thing, I had a lot of kind of walls up just based on, I was engaged once, didn't work out. I was in another relationship, didn't work out. So I had a lot of walls up thinking, I know I want someone who's more homebody, who's more, there were certain just simple traits. Like, I want someone who wants to cook with me. I like to drink wine and cook dinner, not travel as much. All the things that I knew I was looking for. And then I needed that to line up with kind of like we're bantering right now, someone I can just hang out with as my best friend every day. That's my biggest thing is we're, roommates when we have to be, we're romantic when we just click on every kind of dynamic of the day. And that's probably my biggest thing was, when's this going to fail? When's she going to show something that I hate? And I decided to propose when I realized that fucking wasn't coming. It was like, she was just kind of checking off all the boxes. And I see her with the dog, and I can already see her with my kids. She calls my mom out of nowhere to see how she's doing. All the things that I just didn't know I wanted, she was checking off the boxes as we met.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. Andy, too, was waiting for the crazy shoe to drop, as he calls it.
Yeah. It may still drop.
Yeah, I mean, that's a slow play.
Really
I'm impressed with myself if I'm still holding back on the crazy shoe.
Impressive.
Astrid, do you want to answer this question, or do you want to pass?
I think I never realized how much I needed someone who loves structure, I think I was always in relationships where I felt like this isn't going anywhere, what's happening. I want more commitment. This person isn't giving me the commitment I want. And it's because they were such go with the flow, whatever people. And then I met Kevin, and he's that complete opposite, where we can tell you what we're doing the next 10 years. We know what's happening. Certain things might happen, you try to plan a wedding, COVID happens, whatever, curveballs. But other than that, he knows where our life is going. And I'm just like, okay, it sounds really fun. I'm down. And I realized that I needed that to kind of have that security in a relationship where I wasn't questioning things or letting insecurities come out. He always made me feel really secure. And it's because he's such a planner, and he's just always thinking ahead to where I knew we're going to get engaged eventually. We're going to get married. We're going to do the whole thing, because he was already talking and thinking about it before it was even fully in my head.
I think the 6-year difference in our age helps a lot. Like when, I met her in her 20s, I was already in my mid 30s. But the little things like buying a house and stuff that I knew how to do, and I knew which steps to take, I think that was the part that she always says to me. I didn't realize how much I needed someone who just like takes control and understands how to do stuff and actually wants to we always refer to it as our family. Even before we had a dog, we always said build for our family. I think that was something that either of us never really had in a partner before, was someone that already thought like she's my family. After probably 3 months together, I thought of her as my family. I think that was what we bonded on the most, is the word family. We both said, I already see you as my family.
I know you're part of it.
Yeah, and you're part of it. And I think that's like our biggest probably takeaway from that question is we both knew we wanted someone that was instant family, but we never had it in the past, and just took each other to realize.
Oh, so interesting. So it was more like you had looked for something, but just hadn't found it. But then you did find it, and so you knew what you were looking for, and you recognized it when you found it. Was there anything you felt you were looking for that now looking back, you're like, that was missing the mark?
Yeah, every person I've ever dated, I was missing the mark majorly.
I just think
it's too reasonable for this question.
No, but I just think it evolves.
You are.
As evolves as you get older. I think what I was looking for at 25 has nothing to do with what I'm looking for at 35.
Yeah, fair.
And I think maybe someone I met, 5 years ago might have hit all the marks I was looking for at the moment. But when I met Astrid, she was checking off the current boxes. I guess that's the answer.
Well, and thankfully you're the kind of person who updates those boxes as you age and mature. Because I don't think every person, especially every man, does. Frankly.
I have to ask this question. And I'm not trying to just butter you guys up. You both seem just so solid.
I
like
know.
Kevin is like as good looking a guy as I've ever seen.
know.
He's
What's
so
wrong with
stable.
you?
He organizes piles. He knows how to do
Travel
stuff. He's
piles.
a fireman. Okay. Have either of you ever been broken up with, like hard dumped by somebody else?
Oh yeah, I had an ex-boyfriend who cheated on me with one of my friends, which is just crazy. Like so mean.
And way to give you trust issues, like both with friends and in romantic relationships.
Right. So I mean, maybe not dumped, but I mean, basically, that's basically being dumped.
That's like the shittiest thing a partner can do. I can't.
Yeah.
It's unfathomable that both people
can be that shitty.
The friend, and that's
terrible.
And neither person thinks, wait, maybe this is not a good idea.
Yeah, or maybe I can keep it in my pants,
Yeah.
But that's the only time, I'm assuming.
Why do you ask that question?
I'm asking because I don't know who dumps these people. Who breaks up with either of you? I don't even understand. Why would they break up with you?
I don't know.
Well, they're both clearly really God, I sound like I'm buttering you up. Sorry. Ugh.
I mean, I'm the one who's buttering you up.
Yeah, oh God, this is like a butter session.
Let's do this podcast once a week, okay?
But they're both clearly self-aware, so they're the kind of people to maybe have been less mature or more reactive or whatever in the past. But I can see how they would implement the lessons they learn along the way to become these.
Yeah, sure. I'm not saying that you haven't grown.
Oh, I've definitely grown. I used to be, I think reactive is the perfect word. I used to be so much more reactive. I think even when we first got together in those arguments, I would react instead of take it in and really think, okay, what's the best move here?
Yeah.
And I think you need those bad relationships though to grow and to kind of find that out about yourself. It's like, what do you do that's annoying?
I couldn't agree with that. That's probably the biggest takeaway. So for me, I've only been broken up with once, and it was very devastating for me. It was a really bad one. And that's where I learned by far the most about myself, because I realized the issues that she saw in me, I didn't even like about myself. Mm-hmm. And that was as cliche as it sounds, I started going to therapy that week. And I remember thinking I was so proud of myself for trying the therapy for the first time. And for the next 2 years, I went 2-3 times a week. Wow. And that was my biggest, I am kind of I do that, or I am kind of that person. And I think the person who broke up with me was not seeing me as the one anyway. I think she was just looking, just giving me the reason she saw, but I don't think I was ever the one for her anyway. And I thought she was the one for me. And I think I was forcing it a lot. I'm sure we've all done it, where in your head you're thinking, oh no, this will work out, or oh no, this will work. But oh wait, that won't work, when you look back, was should have been way more kind of out front at the time.
Yeah.
And when I was broken up with, I remember being the lowest I've ever been, because I think the word I learned about myself after was ego. I didn't really realize I had an ego. But I think everyone has an ego until you get it shattered. Because once I realized, like, what do you mean I get broken up with? And you realize
it's an impossibility.
Yeah. And I think that's where
Sorry.
No, that's where I looked at myself for the first time and said, okay, well, I'm definitely far from perfect. And what is wrong with myself in my own eyes?
I keep interrupting you. I just want to say that so few people have the self-awareness to recognize that their ego has been shattered. Like most people, not most, but a lot of people might have their heart broken or whatever, but it's like, oh, the other person's to blame. They create a sort of false or even just temporary reality surrounding that.
So that was therapy for me. I
self-improvement.
I didn't come to that on my own. That was like what I learned. Like the word ego was something I just always thought of. Like I never used it in my everyday kind of life. And it was a therapist that said the words. Do you realize that you've had your ego crushed? You're like football, hockey player, like military guy ego that everybody thinks you are. And you've had that shattered by someone. And now you have to really look at yourself in the mirror. And I remember that's where I kind of started building myself back up. And when we talk about coincidences that bring you to where you're supposed to be, that kind of shattering experience for me made me plug through. And I remember it was like 3-4 months after that, I still haven't seen anyone, talked to anyone else. I was still just like, I was like smoking cigarettes. I was like doing the things that I was just like stressing. I was still just like low on myself. And that's when the when ABC reached out and said, we're looking for a Canadian to be on an American show. Would you be interested? And I remember that was kind of what I needed to realize. Okay, there's something here. I just need to figure out what I've trimmed the fat of, like what I need to still work on. And then I had a goal, and then that goal helped me turn the page to like really get myself in a new direction.
He may be the only person who's ever been cured by reality TV.
Okay, I have so many questions for you guys, but I'm going to pivot a bit. What's something that you love about your partner that he or she doesn't necessarily love about themselves? These questions are hard, I realize.
I know, these are really hard questions.
And it doesn't have to be necessarily something your partner doesn't like about themselves, but it could just be something particularly...
Something that I love that you might not like about yourself?
It's a tough one.
It is a tough question. Okay, I'm moving on. I'm moving on because I want... Oh, sorry. Oh, Kevin knows. Kevin has an answer.
I was going to say the only thing is, and we kind of touched on it earlier, was she's so like go with the flow, like everything. And I know sometimes she gets frustrated with herself when more early on in the relationship when you were like, I need to do this. I need to get on this. I can't just like let it go. I need it. And I was always kind of liking that she brought that side to our relationship where like it was a little more go with the flow. It was a little more easygoing. It was a little more, let's see what happens. But I know she was always frustrated with herself, thinking she needs to be more like adulting. I think the adulting thing was always a word that came up early on. But again, she was in her 20s. I was in my mid 30s. It's like you're at a different point, but that's really the only thing.
I'm in my 30s now. I'm grown up.
For what it's worth, as someone in my mid 30s, I'm go with the flow, and I don't think that. I think it's just a personality thing. Mm-hmm. But you are a little less.
Yes.
But I really think it works when one of you is that way. But yeah, Astrid, I relate to that because there is a sense
I have an answer for this now that I think about it.
I knew it would come.
So he has anxiety, and he obviously hates that anxiety, and it keeps him up at night, and he wakes up early. But that anxiety is like the reason we're in this house, for example, is because he can't sleep until he thinks through every single possible scenario of how we can come up with money or do whatever to get into a place like this. And so something that he hates about himself is actually something that makes him so motivated because it drives his day-to-day activity.
That's a beautiful one.
Wow.
Yeah, CBD oil is a wonderful thing. Yeah. Because before we had it, I'll end up, if I wake up at 2 a.m. with one thought about, say, this house, for example, I'll be up till 5 a.m. thinking about it. And I think and I absolutely hate it. It's the worst. It's the worst thing I have in my life is I wake up and if I wake up, I instantly look at the clock. And if it's not like 6 a.m., I get so frustrated because I know I'm up
Oh my God, we're very similar. How's your sleeping in general?
Well, I think it's because I've been a shift worker since I was 20 that I just always have just had to sleep. Like I'll sleep in the afternoon at the fire hall. And then like last night we were up the whole night. I haven't slept since yesterday afternoon. So I just kind of like in military before that, I was always just sleep when you can. But the pressure, I don't know. I guess I don't handle pressure as well as I wish I did. So if I feel like tax season's coming up, it'll be on my head for like 3 months.
You're
before,
a firefighter.
Totally
I think you probably handle pressure okay. He's being
He does.
Those are
some Canadian.
Yeah, but it's compartmentalized.
Yeah, but still.
Compartmentalized.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Yeah, anything under adrenaline is actually amazing. It's just when you have just time to think, like at least as a fireman, when you get a call, you just have to go. But if I can sit in bed and she's sleeping away, I'm so jealous of her every time. Like she's just dead to the world. I'm looking at her like, I wish I could be doing that right now.
Yeah.
I know you know that feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm the weak sleeper. And I'm also, last night I woke up like at 4 a.m. because I was like, I forgot to do this thing. And then I was awake till 7:30.
Yeah.
Poor girl.
Definitely, I can relate.
So now it's time for the Dear Shandy Newlyweds Game. This is my favorite time. I love this. It's always fun to see, especially the two of you, while you were writing these down, you were confident and quick, I'll say.
We were.
Yeah.
You brought up all of our like daily topics. Like food, money, like things we talk about a lot.
Food and money is all we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks because we don't have a stove and we're trying to pay off renovations.
Yeah, we have no stove and we have all of our money in one place. So we've been talking about money and food for a long time.
That's so funny. Okay, well then we have high hopes for you. You'd better be able
They're going to do good. They're going to do well.
Okay, question number 1. We'll start with you, Astrid.
Okay.
What's the first thing you'd buy if you won the lottery? And you can say it and show it.
Designer bag.
Oh, what's that reaction?
I mean, it's such a girl answer. It's amazing. Okay.
I respect that answer. You win the lottery, you're going to buy that bag that you've been wanting and that you couldn't justify.
No, you're right. That's what I would do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Kevin.
So here's the thing. So our first visit ever to New York City, I had to go to the World Trade Center to see it. And we went down there and we were going to do an interview with People magazine. And it was across the street from the World Trade Center. And we went in there and we're sitting in that little food court. It's like a beautiful food court. We're eating and she's like, I'm going to go for a walk. She comes back with a Gucci bag. And I was like, this is my red flags. My red flags start fucking going off. I'm like, where did you just go? You had 10 minutes to wait. And she says to me, she goes, I've wanted this bag for like 3 years. We were getting into like the social media stuff. And I remember being like, she got a good paycheck that day or something. And I remember being like, okay, I got to keep an eye on this to make sure this isn't like every time we pass a store. And to be fair, that's the first and only bag you've ever bought that we've been together. Mm-hmm. And it was a month after, Paradise was still on. It was just finished. So it was like 2 years ago. Wow. And so she's always said like, when am I getting a bag? So she's been talking about a bag for a long time.
I was going to get one for my 30th birthday, and then COVID happened. So then the mall was closed, and then we decided to buy this place. So then all my money went into this. So
kitchen or bag? You pick.
I had to pick the kitchen.
Astrid, I relate to this because I'm the same way. Like I will lust after something for a really long time. I've been known to strategically wait until I'm at like Heathrow, where I know that's duty free and if they happen to have the bag, like it's a combination of being kind of spendy but also thrifty at the same time. And
it's like a tattoo, right? Like you don't want to get it right when you think of it. You kind of want to like mull it over a few months to make sure, is this going to like, do I want to permanently spend this much money on a bag? Do I want this on my body forever? You have to like really be sure.
But it was more than my first 2 cars put together. And when she came back, I was like, how much did you spend? She goes, don't worry about it.
It's like you don't need to know that. There's no purpose in you knowing that number. It's not necessary.
No,
okay, Kevin. What would you buy if you won the lottery? The first thing you would buy?
I said, invest it or another house.
Wow.
He's so future oriented.
Wow.
I said pay off the mortgage.
That's a win.
That's a win. One.
Oh, that's a win.
Shit, that was impressive.
That's actually, you combined his both answers basically in one answer.
Yeah.
Pay off
it's even more impressive.
You're right.
It's bonus points.
Wow, that was impressive, you two. Okay.
These guys are going to make it.
I know.
Whether you like it or not, I'm sorry to say, you guys are stuck with each other.
Question number 2, Astrid. What was your favorite or main childhood pet's name?
I know he won't get this because I don't know if I've talked about her very much, but
they're gonna
Nala, she was my little bunny rabbit, and she died because we didn't realize you couldn't leave her outside over the winter. She passed away.
Oh, that's so tragic.
It was not an overwintering bunny?
No.
It was an annual, not a perennial.
Okay. That's going to be tricky. Kevin, did you get that?
Okay, so the answer I got was the bird your mom got rid of because of the noise. So
we had a bird for 48 hours. Like, it was one of those, my uncle or my aunt gifted my sister and I 2 birds. And within 48 hours, Mom was like, we're not going to have birds. So I don't know if she let them fly away. She said she took them somewhere. We didn't see her do it. So I don't really know what happened. We were not good with pets when we were little.
Astrid, you have a very colorful past with pets.
with animals.
I also had guinea pigs. They all got rabies.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really,
I firmly believe in these small animals teaching you, the value of life. And
That's right.
teaching you responsibility.
Ace, don't worry. I'm not going to hurt you.
You're okay. You're okay.
Next.
Okay, so Kevin did not get that point, but that was
It was a good try, good effort.
a very good effort.
You sort of get partial credit for that.
She told me the bird story numerous times. I never heard of Nala, so the bird was in my head there.
Yeah.
That's fair.
We're not going to give you that one, but
Yeah.
it's only because we
Close.
are so confident that you're going to get future points.
He's going to do
Fair
it.
enough.
He's going to do all right.
Okay, Kevin, your favorite childhood pet's name?
Oh, it's this one.
Duncan.
Duncan was my Sheltie.
But he talks about
dog.
Duncan a lot still to this day.
It's because we just got a dog, so I always say, "Oh, Duncan used to like this. We should try this." Like I would mention it because we just had a dog as a family. So yeah, that was an easy one for her. Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Our next door neighbor had a Duncan.
Kevin's like, that was an easy one for her. Okay, you guys are killing it so far, I've got to say. Okay, question number 3, Astrid. What would you benefit most from? Separate beds, separate bathrooms, or separate TV?
Separate bathroom, 100%.
Ah.
That's how you keep a relationship going.
Absolutely.
With separate bathrooms.
100%.
I don't know if I feel that way about us.
Well, we have 2 bathrooms.
Yes, but I the TV thing.
No, if we had 1 bathroom, we would have problems.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin, what did you
So
say?
bathroom as well.
Yep.
Wow.
Only because we've been talking about double sink. So the condo we just moved out of was 800 square feet, and it was the best part about it. The reason why we bought it was because it had a powder room on the main, like it was a 2-story condo and had a powder room. And we always said the having your own bathroom with at least your own 2 things is key. And then this one has 3, so now we're like spoiled.
Oh, wow.
But we talk about double sinks and bathrooms. The amount of time you mentioned it, that's an easy
I'm so
one.
excited. Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, that powder room, what wallpaper did you select, Astrid?
Option 1, the one that's the simpler one, because
Yes.
I think the other one might make people dizzy.
$600 for a powder room worth
It's
of
really
wallpaper.
expensive to
and
get
they want
wallpaper.
$400 to install it.
Wow.
Whoa.
But we're going to install it ourselves. We're cheap. We're going to really wing it here.
No,
$600.
you sound like us. We really thought about laying down our own tiles. We were
Well, you know what? It's
trying to get creative.
I'm glad we didn't do that.
end it.
Yeah, no, it's $600 for one little powder room. She just told me.
But it's going to look really
Yeah,
pretty.
it'll look nice.
We budgeted for it.
Well, you made the right choice. I'm glad you chose option 1.
Did you ever think you'd care this much about wallpaper in a bathroom, Kevin?
I still don't care at all about the wallpaper in the bathroom. I do appreciate it's the powder room when you first walk in the house. So anytime we have any guests, they're only going to use that powder room. So she wants to give it that cool, like we have like a hunter green sink, and like it's just going to be a very trendy little cool space. And she wanted to do it from the start. So whatever she
I
picks.
see it on TV shows, and I'm like, one day I'm going to have a cool, funky little powder room.
Yeah.
So now's the
Like
day.
gold accents, and it's just gonna be like funky. I have these Playboys that I found in my renovation house from 1985.
Oh, nice.
So we're gonna like just got
Naked
Madonna on the front with hairy
that's
armpits
so
and everything.
cool.
It's really cool. So I found them I bought a house off a guy who was 94, and there was a hidden compartment in his closet that he forgot to clear out. And my dad and I were demoing the house, and we found just a stack of Playboys like this high that he must have had his wife. And they're all vintage. Like Burt Reynolds in his 20s is on the cover.
Oh my God.
And, like, it's really cool. So we're going to display those and try to make it like a trendy little powder room.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's a great idea.
That's the coolest powder room I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
Okay. Kevin. Oh, wait, we already did that. Did you both get that point? No.
No.
Kevin, what would you most benefit from? Separate beds, separate bathrooms, or
I said
separate
bathroom
TV?
as well.
Yep.
Okay, you two are just...
I put TV.
She
I
put
messed
TV.
up. I put TV.
Are you serious?
Because he loves TSN and he loves watching. What are the guys?
You know what TSN is,
Overdrive?
Charlie? You're
The
Canadian.
Yeah, but I'm flabbergasted. I thought for sure, Astrid,
Toronto
you got
Sports
this.
Network?
The shopping.
Oh, Shopping Network. Sorry.
Yeah.
I took a wild guess.
I feel like if you're actually thinking about us having one TV and one bathroom, what would be the biggest issue?
One bathroom.
Yes.
But now I think I was thinking,
100%.
I was thinking we do have multiple bathrooms now. So now the only issue left is the TV. And you like to watch Overdrive and I like to watch Housewives. And they're very different things.
Astrid didn't think through this answer. She didn't think it through.
Kevin, you just looked her so dead in the eye. And you were like, really?
If we had one bathroom, I can only imagine what would go on in this house.
Well, it worked out for the best because now you're tied and
Yep.
that keeps
Okay.
things
Okay.
interesting.
Okay.
Okay. Question number 3. I'm so bad at this. 4. Question number 4. Astrid, if you could have your partner's blank, what would it be?
What is sugar lips? Because they're so luscious. You don't need filler.
He got it.
She says it all the time. She says it all the time because I have huge lips. She says it
Oh,
all
that's
the time.
great.
Wow, you guys.
So
Like they're so bouncy.
It's not fair. Why do guys get those? It's
Right?
like the
His
guy
eyelashes
having great
too.
lashes. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay,
Oy.
Kevin, if you could have
Oh.
Astrid's blank, what would it be?
I could sleep. 'Cause
So,
I can sleep.
She's
anywhere.
right. She's right. I did mention that earlier. I was going to say physical style, skin. Like her skin is absolutely perfect, and there's
It
never
is.
any issues with it. And I'm always like trying to shave and razor bumps and pimples, and she just like perfect every day. So I was thinking more physical, but sleep. Yeah, you're right on that. I look at her all the time. And I'm like, how are you?
He watches me sleep.
I just want
Can't
to sleep
fall
like
asleep.
that.
I'm
So-
totally you in our
Yeah.
relationship. He just passes out and I'm just gazing at it. It's just
That's sad.
it's amazing.
just jealousy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. You guys really
Okay.
keep this interesting. It's like
Yeah.
taking turns.
Give and
Okay.
take.
But
It's tighter than I thought.
okay. Final question.
Only Kevin can win now. Astrid's just playing for the tie.
Yeah. Astrid, you're going for the tie.
I'm so confident in this one. I know I've already
No.
won.
Oh, so
If
he's,
you get this, Kevin, you will be
Okay.
our reigning champion with the highest score to date.
yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
This is kind of
There's a
big
lot
deal.
on the line.
Big deal. And you will be going home with $25,000 now. I guess not, we're not that big.
That would be pretty cool. I feel like this game would get a lot more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Astrid, what would be your last meal on Earth?
Domino's pizza.
Oh.
You monster.
New Yorkers, I'm so sorry.
I'm
so
sorry, but
monster.
the crunchy thin crust,
It's
I
like-
love it. I literally have had it weekly since I was like 18 years old. Like I just love it.
To be fair, we're not known for our pizza over here. Like I know New York, we go out for pizza in New York. It's the best. Like we don't have that option here. It's not like there's just some spot in Toronto that's so die hard you have to go. Domino's is so consistent where you're like never disappointed. By the way, I said Domino's too, but I said Domino's with jalapenos, onions, sweet peppers, banana peppers with garlic bites. Is guaranteed that.
Oh,
you're
that
fine.
is love. He has every single topping.
Vegetarian with all the hot stuff, right?
Wow. Okay, that was impressive. I am still reeling at Astrid's choice.
Well, then
I
we
actually
both said
wanna know more
Domino's for
about the
mine
Domino's.
too.
Well, get ready because Kevin's last meal. Also, both Domino's.
Mine's a little more plain, but
I can't. Okay, we actually want to know what we're bewildered by how Domino's is still in business, but apparently it would be some people's last meal on earth.
It's us. We're keeping them in business.
I mean, remember I Airbnb'd the place, and the only thing left in my refrigerator was
a box.
Domino's.
Yeah,
pizza. And I was like, these monsters. What were they thinking?
I will say it has to be the thin crust. We don't get the other types of Domino's. We just get the thin crust, and there's something about it's saucy but crispy but gooey. It's
they're
good.
in New York. Like, think about New York.
I know. This is what I will say.
Unlimited.
Yeah.
It's unfair. It's unfair for us to judge, but I will say this: that Domino's, I do believe, is the winner amongst the sort of
The pizzas?
Chains?
pizzas.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's consistent. You're always going to get the same thing.
What would
She's
you agree? I don't know. I mean, I truly think. Yeah.
I'm mostly speechless. I was expecting.
Charlene can't speak anymore. It's over. I think this podcast is over.
I was expecting just a different direction, I guess. I was expecting a more elaborate feast, but you're both easy to.
We cook a lot. We cook a lot of big meals. We do like good food meals. We do our own meals. I do like fire hall meals for you. But whenever it's like Sunday and we just want to order, it's the same thin crust.
So if you guys ever visit us in
Domino's.
New York City, we're gonna have like 5
it's gonna be a
Domino's
pizza
pizzas
tour.
ready.
No way.
We've had New York pizza, and it was
the best.
amazing. It was so
we were
good.
in New York last. We had pizza 3 times. They were all different spots, random.
amazing.
That's okay. That's reasonable.
Okay.
So in other words, if you had the choice between Domino's and good New York pizza, you'd always choose good New York pizza.
100%. Like,
Okay, just making sure. I want to make sure
like
you weren't actually
the Barstool
monster.
reviews. I'm always like, I got to go there next time.
Okay, good.
So, yeah.
We're good.
I bet you the comments under this one will be like, Domino's is great. You guys suck.
Your Instagram followers are going to go down by like 90%.
No, they're going to tell us that we're
actually, they may
food
go up.
snobs and that
Oh,
they're
you're
right.
We're going to get it.
I will say, when we talked about maybe there's not the one, the first time he was like, let's just order Domino's. I love their thin crust. I was like, wow, okay, this is really going to work because I've never met anybody else who feels as strongly about Domino's thin crust.
Oh, that must have been huge.
It was huge. I used to order it in college.
Yeah, you told me that.
Because I used to bartend, so I'd get home really late. It was one of the only places that was still open. The guys knew my roommate and I so well, we would get free pizzas. Like they just every now and then just be like, this one's on the house. They knew her, like it was kind of sick. It was a little sick. But so when he said
2 hot bartenders ordering a pizza at 3 a.m. Of course it's on the house.
It's shocking.
But when he said
Like
he
some
also loves
fixtures?
Domino's thin crust, I was like, this is going to work.
That's when you knew. To get back to the when you knew question.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she just said.
We
yeah,
actually have a Domino's right near us. It's really like just hopping all the time.
It is hopping, and we
So
always look at
people-
it with disdain when we walk back. Maybe we're the ones missing out.
No, you could walk 2 blocks to an amazing pizza place.
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll finally dip
Let's
our
have
toe.
some Domino's tomorrow.
Yeah,
Let's
you guys
see
are
if-
inspiring us.
Yeah, let's see what it's about.
Well, stay tuned for a swipe up for Domino's because I feel it coming on.
Kevin, you're our
Not
reigning
sponsored.
champion in the Dear
Okay.
Shandy
Yeah, you
Newlyweds
won.
Game.
Wow.
That is very impressive. 4 out of 5.
I had high hopes.
You like Domino's and you like designer bags? It's not
do.
It's not hard though. So, yeah.
Sometimes I'm fancy, sometimes I'm not.
Yeah, high low. It's all about the high low. You guys, that was so much fun. You guys are just so great together, and thank you for joining us here today. That was really fun.
Thanks for having
thanks
us.
for
That was
thinking about it.
fun.
It was fun. We don't do many podcasts. I think we've done like 1 in the last year, maybe. We don't do very many, do we?
No, because it's usually always about the show, and we
Yeah.
I
nothing to
trust
add.
me. Trust
I
me.
have nothing to add from now on. Like it's like I get asked about it all the time. Even at work. Like I was at a call yesterday, and some woman on the call asked me about the show and asked me about Colton or something. I was like,
Oh no.
I was like, I don't know. Like I'm at a call. I'm in my fire gear. Like,
Are you okay?
What are you asking me about Colton right now? It's funny how
Amazing.
I think we saw a post today from Chicks in the Office that said favorite Bachelor couples, and we weren't on the list, and a bunch of people tagged us. And I said, the fact that we're not in that category anymore, we finally made it as a real couple.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like now that we're not a Bachelor couple, I think we're just a couple. I think that's kind of the goal, right?
Congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
really played the whole thing. I know it wasn't your intention necessarily, but damn.
Yeah.
You guys kept, you have your lives, your careers, and
They won. They won
You
the Bachelor.
fully-
Just kind of
won.
low key,
Yeah.
get just, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay, you guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
And hopefully maybe in-person double date will be in our future one day.
Okay.
One day.
Sounds good to us. Yes.
You guys are lovely. Thank you for
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Take care.
Well, that was lovely. They were great.
Great couple.
Yeah.
They're going to make it. I know they're going to make it. I'll bet you. Want to bet? Want to bet?
I had high expectations for them and they lived up. They're just so cool and normal.
I'm telling you, Canadians and Europeans.
So what you're saying is if one of them were American, they'd be slightly less cool?
If Kevin was American, he'd be a totally different person.
100%. I could not agree with you more.
Yeah.
I was just marveling, even as a Canadian guy, he's just so not what you would necessarily expect.
I had to like refocus my perception.
Yeah.
Because if he was American, it would be a different dude. Like different guy completely.
Talking to him is like requires like constant recalibration.
Yeah.
Like of your own expectations and judgments and assumptions about people.
Totally.
Yeah. And her too. I mean, she's someone who looks like her. Maybe you're right. Is it because she's not American? This is an American podcast. We should watch what we say.
Look, all our listeners are wonderful Americans.
That's true.
The ones that are American.
We have the good
Although
ones.
we do 25%.
And we're not buttering you up.
25% in Canada. But
is that true? 25% of our listeners?
25% is in from
I love
Canada.
that that's a stat you
Or
looked
20,
up and
I don't
know.
know, something above 20%. But it's undeniable. Like there's a certain worldliness is not really. I mean, it is kind of worldliness. It's not. That sounds like elitist to say cultured or worldly. It's really just you're just a more complete, grounded person. Like there's a sort of an innate maturity, emotionally and just logistically.
And even if at one point he, for example, wasn't emotionally mature, the fact that he has reached that point makes it almost more impressive.
Oh yeah.
Because he's so frank about it. She's just like, yeah,
able to
I was
talk
all these
about it.
things and I worked on myself and
Yeah.
I had all, so
Good
impressive.
stuff. Yeah. Really, really good couple.
I told you you'd like them.
You pick good couples.
I do pick good couples.
I like all our couples.
I do.
Really had a good one. Good time with these guys.
Yeah. So you guys, thank you for tuning in to whether you're American or Canadian, or where else are they? How many? We had some in Norway.
Yeah, Norway.
Yeah,
to our fans in Norway.
we see you.
How do you say like?
No, I don't know how to say.
Okay, never mind. Thank you in Norwegian.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for tuning in from wherever you are in the world. No matter what, no matter where they are, we know they're the good ones.
Oh yeah, regardless of whether they're eating Dominos or not.
Yeah. If you liked what you heard today, do you know what you should do?
I know what they should do. You want me to tell you what they should do?
Is it going to take a long time?
It's going to take a while.
I'll just do it.
You should do it. You should do it.
You should subscribe, leave an iTunes review, hit notification bells. You can follow us on Instagram. And yeah, just support us because we could use it.
We could use it.
And we're
tough times.
A baby podcast growing slowly but surely. You guys, we'll see you next time on Dear Shandy. Have a good one. Bye.